For our group's usability test, we chose the Zio alarm clock. Besides being just an alarm clock, it's also supposed to track your sleep patterns and help you sleep better. Our usability tests were conducted in the Ethnic Cultural Center during the afternoon. We chose our participants by going up to people around the building and asked if they wanted to participate. We randomly selected each student so there wouldn't be any bias. We decided that college students would be a good user group to test because most of us wake up super early and rely on them to save our lives. As for metrics, these were the ones that we decided to record. Our biggest usability issues when we tried using this clock were the overall navigation and the design of the interfaces and buttons. We hoped that these metrics would reveal those problems. For example, having to scroll through each item of the settings menu to find what you're looking for greatly adds to the time taken to finish each task. As for our task, we had the participants set an alarm clock for 8:30 a.m., adjust the volume of and change the alarm tone, and adjust the snooze time to 10 minutes. We chose these tasks because they're the core functions of an alarm clock, and anyone should be able to do them. The first task generally took the longest. This is probably because the participants weren't familiar with the clock yet and it took time to see what each button did and where everything was. This task also had the highest average difficulty rating compared to the other two. In addition, two of the participants said they weren't sure if they had actually set the alarm or not. As we suspected when getting familiar with the product ourselves, this clock doesn't appear to have a volume setting, and all participants gave up after some time. This task had the second highest average difficulty rating. However, changing the alarm tone had the lowest rating and time taken. All participants said that they had noticed the setting to change the alarm tone while they were doing the first task, but when we asked participants if they thought the alarm would actually wake them up in the morning, all of them said no. For the final task, two of the participants asked for a hint in order to complete it, even though they said the clock was easier to use now that they were more familiar with it. Again, two of the participants weren't sure if they had actually changed the snooze time or not. Participants said that the snooze button was easy to find, but they didn't think they'd be able to actually hit it after just waking up. Based on the data we gathered, we have lots of recommendations because this alarm clock is sort of horrible. But just to name a few key ones, we think that the overall navigation should be more intuitive. There shouldn't be a ton of buttons, and the volume settings should be added or made more clear. One of the participants said that the icons on the buttons weren't even helpful at all, and another mistaked the graph button for a volume button. A big design recommendation we would have is to give it a touch interface. This would make the clock easier to navigate with taps and swipes, and the UI wouldn't be as cluttered with all the arrows depicting what to do. Looking back, we would like to have more participants for more consistent data, while also changing how Task 2 was handled, since we could have misled users into thinking that there was an actual volume setting. Finally, we would have liked to make tasks that utilize Zio's other functions such as sleep measuring and the graphs.